Chapter 9. The digestive system. The mouth or oral cavity. The mouth or oral cavity can also be called the buccal cavity. Its sides are formed by the cheeks. The roof consists of the hard and soft palates, and its floor is formed by the tongue. The lips are fleshy folds that surround the opening or orifice of the mouth. On the outside the oral cavity is covered by skin and on the inside by mucous membrane. During the chewing of food, the lips and cheeks help keep food between the upper and lower teeth. They also assist in speech. The hard bony palate forms the anterior part of the roof of the mouth. The soft muscular palate forms the posterior portion of the roof of the mouth. Hanging from its posterior border is a cone-shaped muscular structure called the uvula, which functions in the swallowing process and prevents food from backing up into the nasal area. The tongue and its associated muscles form the floor of the oral cavity. It consists of skeletal muscle covered with mucous membrane. It is divided into symmetrical halves by a septum called the lingual frenulum. The tongue is attached to and supported by the hyoid bone. There are two types of skeletal muscle found in the tongue: extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic muscles originate outside the tongue and insert into it, moving the tongue from side to side and in and out to manipulate food. Intrinsic muscles originate and insert within the tongue, altering the size and shape of the tongue for speech and swallowing. The upper surface and sides of the tongue are covered with papillae, which are projections of the lamina propria covered with epithelium. They produce a rough surface of the tongue. The anterior two-thirds contain taste buds and are most numerous at the tip of the tongue and on the posterior surface of the tongue. The filiform papillae, found at the front of the tongue, are rough and are important in licking. The fungiform papillae and the circumvallate papillae, found toward the back of the tongue, all contain taste buds. There are 5 tastes: sweet, sour, salt, umami, and bitter. The taste of umami was identified by Japanese researchers. It detects MSG monosodium glutamate, a distinct flavor popular in Asian foods. As you can see, this is the anatomy of the tongue and oral cavity. And this is the 3 types of papillae found on the tongue. The salivary glands. The major portion of saliva is secreted by the large salivary glands. The mucous membrane lining of the mouth contains many small glands, called the buccal glands, which secrete small amounts of saliva. The large salivary glands are found outside of the oral cavity and pour their secretions into ducts that empty into the mouth. The 3 pairs of salivary glands are the parotid gland, the submandibular or submaxillary gland, and the sublingual gland. Saliva is 99.5% water, which provides a medium for dissolving foods. The remaining 0.5% consists of the following solutes. Chlorides activate the salivary enzyme amylase. Amylase initiates the breakdown of complex carbohydrates like starch and glycogen into simple sugars. Bicarbonates and phosphates, which are buffer chemicals, keep the saliva at a slightly acidic pH of 6.35 to 6.85. Urea and uric acid are waste products. Mucin forms mucus to lubricate food. The enzyme lysozyme destroys bacteria, thus protecting the mucous membrane from infection and the teeth from possible decay. This is the salivary glands. Teeth. The teeth, also known as the dentists, are located in the sockets of the alveolar processes of the mandible and maxillary bones. The teeth break up food by chewing. Chewing is called mastication. There are 20 temporary or deciduous teeth that form in infants between the ages of 6 months to 2 years. By the age of 13, there will develop 32 permanent teeth to replace the deciduous ones. The 8 front teeth are called incisors and are used to cut food. The 4 canine teeth are used to tear food. Because they have one cusp, they are also called cuspids. The molar teeth grind food. There are 2 kinds of molar teeth. The 8 premolars have 2 cusps or projections and are also called bicuspids. Some of the 12 molars have 3 cusps and are called tricuspids, but many have 4 cusps, and the maxillary first molar actually is 5 cusps. The alveolar processes are covered by the gums or gingiva that extend slightly into each socket. The sockets are lined by the periodontal ligament that anchors the teeth in position and acts as a shock absorber to soften the forces created during chewing. The tooth can be divided into 3 principal portions. The crown is the portion above the level of the gums and is covered with enamel, the hardest substance in the body that protects the tooth from wear and acids. The cervix or neck is the constricted junction between the crown and the root. The root can consist of 1, 2, or 3 projections embedded in the socket. Larger teeth, like molars, will have more than one root. Teeth are made of dentin, a bone-like substance that encloses the pulp cavity in the crown. The exposed surface of the crown is covered with enamel. Narrow extensions of the pulp cavity project into the root, called root canals. At the base of each root canal is an opening, the apical foramen, through which blood vessels and nerves enter the tooth and become part of the pulp. The dentin of the root is covered with another substance called cementum, which attaches the root to the periodontal ligament. In Figure 8, you can see the deciduous teeth, and the Figure B is the permanent teeth. As you can see, this is the anatomy of a typical tooth.